Disclaimer. Don't go harassing anybody mentioned within the video, because I'm going to be mentioning lots of names. I'm going to recommend you see a bunch of videos for context. Those will be in the description below. Please read the description, as the description will explain a little bit of context. So, story on why I'm making this video. I had some inside sources give me some information about some situations. Well, on YouTube, I think Google's like listening to me, because like I got weird video recommendations, while on other scenarios, other people had troubles in the ye olde days. Now, I wanted to talk about the ye olde days of DeviantArt, where God forbid you made a character that somewhat looked like an original character. As you can tell, these are unscripted. However, I, make a little list, trying to keep myself on track. Because it's just better if I talk to you guys, Keep my thoughts on pace. Ah yes, we're going to talk about the Sonic Mary Sue Discourse. Of course, this happened all around the same time. I like to call it the period of 2012, 2016, or as people like to call it, the cringe era. Or is that just me? Because this was also my cringe era. I was in high school. But a lot of things were going on around this time. The commentary community founded themselves on trying to weed out the weenies. On the other side, you had some commentators that prided themselves on, look at that person. That person recolored Sonic and made an OC that looked like Sonic. Yeah, it's just an interesting thing. If you look in the ye olde archives of YouTube, you can find a lot of these videos if you just look. You can actually find a lot of these. A good example of why I semi-wanted to get into commentating was because I found one of these videos and I just kind of listened to it while I drawed, a few things during study hall, and I was just like, wow, these guys kind of make a point. This person's a shithead. But then looking back on it today, I rewatched the video years later and realized, is there really anything wrong with people drawing and creating a Mary Sue? Really? I mean, people make comfort characters all the time. I have a comfort character, you have a comfort character, we all have comfort characters. Are there any other comfort characters that I should know about? Hendrix, this would be the time to meow. But jokes aside, I would like to talk about the Mary Sue Discourse. Why do people hate them? Why don't people hate them? And the interesting case of the trio of Mary Sues that almost got chased off the internet. Oh yeah, we're gonna be deep delving into the lore. Now, normally I don't do videos like this. However, I was inspired by a bunch of different videos. One video I was inspired by, well, when, how Sonic 93 got chewed out for literally the only evidence against Akai that she ever brought to the table was just, well, she was mean when she got fan art. Well, to be fair, that's a response to all the negative attention she got. Do I excuse how she responded? No, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I think it was Just a Robot and a few others that had an amazing amount of videos on this. I'll mainly link Just a Robot. I'll explain why in a second. There were also a few others that did videos. The name's Junkie, if you would prefer watching. And a few others that did videos on the Sonic 93 Discourse. Hello, cat. You're in for a treat today. We also have Truth Lily Gaia. Can I just say, you have to be a petty fucking bitch to make a full-length documentary like this girl is fucking Christian. They're not on the same level. Trust me. Christian literally... I could make a documentary on Christian, but that's besides the point. More of an educational one, of course, on how the internet, psychology, blah, blah, blah. Note to self, I have my psychology degree just hanging right there. But, let's continue. All these people had a personal vendetta against this girl just because, A, they thought she was delusional, no, she really wasn't that delusional except for a few behavioral and or social problems. And B, she just had a character that, seemed a little out of the ordinary. And by out of the ordinary, her character color palette was a blend between Sonic and Shadow. She seemed to take a lot of inspiration like Akai from anime and ecchi anime. For the children, and I don't mean literal children, this video is not for children. For the children to understand, ecchi is this subcategory in between normal anime and hentai. I'm not telling you, if you don't know what hentai is, you poor innocent summer child. Of course, people made this a huge giant point. Well, if you're Mary Sue, like Sonic and Shadow so much, and then doesn't like Shadow, which is it? Because it's obvious she doesn't like them because they're perverts. There's a whole bunch of discourse with that just because. And then the third of the trio, a personal stake of mine, was Princess Elizabeth 013. Like myself, she was a very sheltered child. However, cornered by a bunch of adults, triggered an interesting reaction, said a bunch of things, and now a whole bunch of adults to this day hold an interesting vendetta against someone who was literally a child. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. In this part, I would like to explain what Mary Sues are, cringe culture, blah blah blah. This is the educational bit. The educational bit in, if you don't know what a Mary Sue or a Gary Stew is, you sweet summer child. Alright. When you hear the term Mary Sue, okay? What do you picture? I actually want you to comment it. Comment what you hear when you hear Mary Sue. Because a lot of 90s characters or early 2000s characters tend to come to mind. Because Mary Sues were staples in early 2000s, late 90s media and or anime/cartoons. These characters were really relatable for young girls and boys to sell merchandise and or, stuff. However, that's not the only reason why. These characters are meant to be relatable, and these characters are meant to click because they're the main character. These characters, you get into their head. A great example of this would be, I'm gonna throw one out from my childhood, Kagome from Inuyasha. You gotta get into her mindset. She literally falls down a well and ends up in feudal Japan. Your reaction would be like, the fuck? It's pretty much her reaction other than the, obvious slight tweaks. Everyone's twist on a Mary Sue, Gary Stew is, different. However, there's also the subcategory of this, which is a self-insert. The self-insert is literally a character based off the author. The author. Which these characters may not always look like the author because, I'm pretty sure when I made my Sonic character, I did not plan on my character being a blue fucking cat. But, let's continue, shall we? These takes on these characters always tend to differentiate between fandoms, media, and inspirations. Interestingly enough, the best way I can explain this modern-wise, English, I can speak it, was back in the oldie days when everyone was reading Twilight. A lot of girls connected with Bella. However, it got really creepy when people started discovering that Twilight was literally based off of the author's weird fever kink dream that she had an affair with a vampire and a werewolf and all sorts of things. Yeah, she creeped out Robert Pattinson, so I'm gonna have to find that article where I read that, but it was just, I felt so bad for Robert Pattinson. Like, everybody made fun of this guy, but just imagine the shit he had to deal with. Like, this woman telling him all these weird fantasies and shit, and explaining how Bella Swan was her self-insert. Also, feel bad for Kristen Stewart, considering she had to play Bella. and act exactly how the author was there for every filming. I'll find the article. But this is usually how it's done poorly. Mary Sue's and Gary Stu's aren't always done badly. People tend to connect to them, have great, stories with them. The top 3 anime, I believe, brain work with me. The top 3 are Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece, if I remember correctly. And everyone connect to them because their characters are, Gary Stu's, no offense to them. I'm just using this as a general sense, where their main characters are lovable idiots. However, over time, they tend to develop. Is this bad to be a Gary Stu? No, it is not bad. But characters start that way. If you know the writing processes, these characters take time to develop. Will they stay in that state? It depends on the writer. Or the artist. Because we started off here with the Sonic drama. Don't worry, we'll get to the juicy bits. Depending on where they get to in that process, depends on if they stay with the character, scrap the character, develop that character further. It depends on the planning process of that said character. A great example of this, Naruto. He started off as this quirky, annoying, believe it, and all this other stuff. And he went on to actually pursue his dreams, have a family, do his thing, and you know what? We're proud of you. You matured. You did your thing. Congratulations, Naruto. Am I the hugest fan of Naruto? No, but I can at least respect it for doing its thing. However, there are also subcategories of things, but I'm just talking about the overall umbrella term, Mary Sue, Gary Stu. So we're not going to go into the, cringe, blah, 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 the pervert character, the other archetypes, unless people want an interesting analysis video on that. But Mary Sue's and Gary Stu's, sometimes they're not always the main character. Sometimes they can be a side character. It just always depends on how the writer or artist develops these characters into a certain position. And they're not always a bad thing. As I've told you before, a lot of anime start these characters off as basic ass bitches. And a lot of Mary Sue's and Gary Stu's are basic ass bitches. Is that a bad thing? No, sometimes it makes it easier to throw these characters into basic situations. Throw them into a daily scenario, and it's easier for people to connect to these characters. Honestly, it's easy for people to connect to these characters in these basic situations, because, hey, how would they act if they went to the grocery store? Bitch, I would throw a fit if I was stuck in the middle of goddamn Walmart. Well, let me explain. If you see these characters interacting on a daily kind of slice of life scenario, even though it's not a slice of life anime, I know, God forbid, it would be interesting to see because you get to see these different sides of these characters develop and flourish, and it gives these different connections for the author to work with. Ta-da! But let's continue, shall we? Cringe culture tended to ruin a lot of that. Cringe culture kind of made it really bad for people to like what they like. So, let's get into cringe culture, shall we? If you haven't noticed, this is part 2 of Electric Boogaloo, cringe culture. Cringe culture basically came into play as soon as 2016 through 18, maybe 2019. A lot of YouTubers thought it would be funny to search up shit on DeviantArt or Google, and things would come up in the search bar. Now, of course, if you have children in the room, do yourself a favor. Always have safe search on. Mainly for your children's sake, because I will explain when I was in the 3rd grade, searching up a picture of Lugia and finding Rule 34 of Lugia fucking Dialga was not exactly a huge, favorite of mine. Try explaining that one to your teacher. Especially when your school was country bumpkin school that couldn't afford certain things. So, Explain that one to your teacher. So when you easily have these kind of things going around, you have to explain, people be horny. But I don't kink shame people for having certain kinks, but people will go out of their way to search people's fetishes just to make fun of a fandom. A great example of this is usually the Sonic fandom and feet. I mean, to this day, Oni Plays made an example of this in his, Worms Armageddon video. Of course, he showed it a little more love than necessary, which made me question a lot. But other YouTubers, popular ones, will, kind of just shove it in your face like, oh my god, the Cuphead fandom, they're supporting incest. Oh my god, the Sonic fandom, you're into minors if you want to fuck the hedgehog. They're fictional characters, and it's a little bit of a gray area psychologically if you're into certain things, trust me. Because I will tell you, they're fictional characters. Do I agree with people wanting to fuck something that looks like a child? No. Oh my god, no. However, let's not get into debates here, considering I really don't want stupid lolicons coming up to my video and being like, your video fucking sucks, considering that I love my Mary Sue, my Lolita baby. You get my point here. But before I go on to a giant rant here, giant YouTubers, considering people would talk about cringe culture and how it's harmed a lot of the fandoms, luckily some stopped, some haven't. I'll put a prime example here without mentioning names. But do I highly, blame these YouTubers? No, they can't exactly control their fandoms. But could they have avoided it altogether? Yes. Yes, they could have. But, cringe culture is not just looking up stupid fetishes and making fun of things. They also tended to make fun of a lot of other things, like which fandoms are worse, Five Nights at Freddy's, a lot of other things. But how could I mention cringe culture without mentioning things that the fandoms themselves done? I've witnessed some of the weirdest shit come from people talking about cringe culture. Cringe itself has become an adjective. We had people ask for criticism and get this person, I forget their name, I think they since deleted their YouTube channel, and they would be like, your character is so cringe. Your character has excessive use of pink. I'm a real artist, okay? I study from Roman books, okay? And you draw Sonic characters? Ew. Ew. I've seen that shit kind of happen, and I'm like, they just wanted constructive criticism on how they could improve their character, and you choose to be a belittling fucking cunt. I've also seen shit like this. You're copying me. How am I copying you? I am using this color palette, and you're using a similar color palette to me. The fuck? And I'm gonna take you for copyright infringement. No joke, this happened in a server I was in, I want to say years ago. This girl pops off because she's like, this person made a unicorn character just like mine, and they're using a similar color palette. And I'm just like, no. You can't copyright colors unless you're Target, but that's besides the point. Businesses are businesses, and they're forever gonna be fucking, capitalism. But the way she went about it was very interesting. I'm gonna mass report everything on her profile. Okay, you do that, but you're gonna get your profile shut down if you do. What? How? Because they're false reports. Oh, you're supporting her? No, I'm just telling you, you can't copyright a color. But that's not the problem. She's copying me, not the color. You stupid hoe. I have so many stories about this person. One of these days I'm making a video on her as one of those toxic people videos. But let's continue, shall we? We have art style and color theft. Oh my god, I already mentioned the color theft, but the art style theft. I think Spoctor made a great video on that. However, I would like to acknowledge that people have harassed artists on DeviantArt if they have a style anything similar to one of the people I mentioned, Akai Dahlia. And Akai Dahlia has even mentioned she doesn't give a shit. Like, this person, I watched them for a while. They weren't even going out of their way to, like, harass Akai. They just had a similar style to Akai. They were just doing their thing. People, oh my god, you're stealing from Akai. No, just doing my thing. Got a character I ship with silver. You're stealing from Akai, though. No, just doing my thing. But you're stealing from Akai. How? Like, there was just whole sorts of bullshit I have ever seen in my entire life. But if you want a good video on art style theft, definitely check out Spoctor's video on style theft. Spoiler alert, it's bullshit. Not his video, just style theft. Because we literally get inspiration from anything and everywhere, and this is bullshit. But now the moment we have all waited for, the trifecta. That means part 3. So, old DeviantArt, okay? People to this day still harass these 3 users like they're fucking... Okay, if this was a dead horse, I'm pretty sure the horse would already be like a gross, molten pulp of dead flesh. Like zombie flesh. Like, this thing is dead. In the ground, dead. Still being punched at. It's already fertilizer. There's flowers growing in it, and the people are punching the dirt at the flowers. But let's continue. People at this day are still continuously harassing these users. And I wanted to make this part very clear. I did not condone how they lashed out, but I'm going to explain the why. For every cause, there is an effect. But you all only saw the effect. Let me tell you the cause. See, back in the oldie days, a lot of videos and a lot of traction and a lot of misinformation gets spread. Cool. You understand that. A lot of videos were done, you watched a bunch of the drama, and you're like, but Delaney, why are you explaining this to us? We already understand that a bunch of the shit that happened to them were bullshit. Well, because I would like to get a little extra justice for these 3. Because I myself was also misinformed when I was a young lady. Literally, I was just in high school and my friend, who at the time was just like, yo, girlfriend, so there's this bitch named Akai Dahlia. Literally a whore. How's she a whore? Well, she's shipping herself with Sonic and Shadow. You literally ship your characters with Sonic, Shadow, and Silver, and on the rare occasion, Mephiles. I don't want to fucking hear it. Well, do yourself a favor and can you, like, block them? Why? Because, like, it's just ridiculous. Of course, this is a dramatization of how this went down. And it gets even better. Oh my god. Oh my god. Girl, you need to watch this rant. I need to show you how Akai is bad. Excuse my dog. Of course, this video, being Sonic 93 and Amy Chan's videos on said Akai Dahlia, I was, young and impressionable in the 9th grade, and I was like, that looks like a lot of bullshit. However, at the same time, I was just like, but why are people going after Akai if all she is shipping her character with Sonic, maybe Shadow, and she's pink? Then more and more videos came out. A good example was IDKY Hannah's video. Although humorous, I did laugh at a few jokes. I had many questions. What people do to their characters is up to them. Whether they give them trauma, whether they give them a story, whether they develop them further than the Mary Sue stage. Because I will tell you, it's just a stage. A phase. It's not a phase, Mom. If they stay, in the phase. But fucking Akai has taken... Young lady. Has taken so many beatdowns by the goddamn internet, it's ridiculous. And I'm very happy that in, I think it was 2019, 2020, she finally got some fucking justice. However, 2 other people didn't get, a lot of justice as, Akai. Truthfully, Gaia had a full-blown documentary on her like she was a creature. Like she was some sort of enigma, a wandering mystery. And, to tell you the truth, if Hannah ever watches this video, not my friend Hannah, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I have many questions because your friends are hella biased. And by hella biased, to this day, they still make videos on said person. Like they're fucking stalking her. I would recommend watching the videos harsh opinions have created on them. Mwah! Beautiful. Great opinions and great, well, I did not mean to make that pun. And great commentary considering the fact that most of the points I would have made, they're there. Best way to watch it there. But to add on to the point here, people gotta learn these people are human too. We all deal with things differently, deal with trauma differently, and deal with people's reactions differently. But the person I mainly wanted to talk about the most with my personal experiences would be Princess Elizabeth 013. So Jar's recent video, or recent set of videos explaining his past and explaining that he was, username here. And I have to say, I recognized that name, considering I was also somewhat defending Erin, because Erin wasn't a bad person. However, I caught up to Erin on the end of the spiel, I would like to say, because my friend got late to the drama party. Of course, this is a different friend than from the Akai Dahlia, so I'm gonna try and do a different impression this time. Girl. Okay, girl. What? So remember how you wanted to be a ranter? This was in the ye olde days, what do you want? Well, here, listen to me, okay? I got into contact with Erin. Uh-huh. But I want you to get the dirt on her. No? But why not? Because that's fucked up. Yeah, but can you make friends with her for me, please? God damn it. Welcome to high school where I am very impressionable, and I don't do well with confrontation. I made friends with Erin at around the end of my high school years. AKA when I was a sophomore? No, junior to senior. Erin was sophomore to junior. She's just a little bit behind me. Basically, Erin was on the end of the drama spectrum, trying to get out of that, drama llama phase. And you know what? I was tossing her a bone trying to be nice. Of course, I felt bad because my name at the time was associated with ranting on another person on DeviantArt. Not gonna mention names because I felt bad because the dude since apologized for that and, I don't want him harassed. So to continue, we all, sat in a call together. I talked about things, we were just chilling. However, my friend continuously tried to get dirt on Erin, and I was just like, dude, no. You literally are trying to beat a dead horse at this point. So me and Erin just stayed friends. I don't know what happened to this other person. I actually kind of forgot their name at this point because they went off to do their own thing and just disappeared off of DeviantArt. Woo. But I would like to mention how Erin to this day is continuously getting harassed. So, recently, when Jar released his video, a journal was released, and I do mean a journal, by a lucky lady Xandra, and it was taken down for bullying. Erin had nothing to do with this. Erin admitted she had nothing to do with this because the source who came to me, I will say, it was not Erin. I don't know who it was. They messaged me. They said, hey, we know you're friends with Erin. And I was just like, okay, let's continue. And I discovered a lot of things about this person, because the name looked familiar. I found out this person was in my one group on DeviantArt that I inherited, OC Penthouse. Who knew? Let's continue. I look in their parody folder, and their parody folder is an Erin obsession. It's... oh. I'm just gonna show you a few examples here. They range between the periods of 2016 through recent. And, what the fuck? The most interesting thing about this is this person made that journal when Jar released his video, and basically was just like, Erin's not as nice as he tried to portray her. Erin literally hurt me and my friends years ago. Yeah, years. People change. There are so many comments and things she has written, and it's to the point where college level essays were written under some of these beautiful, in quotations, deviations. A great example of this was, I have counted a total of 42 something paragraphs, maybe more, like there were like half paragraphs there, so it could be more. And on that level, it could be like a college fucking essay. Though then again, I could tell you my essays were also like really fucking long too, so yeah. So let's continue, shall we? This lucky lady Xandra has also full-blown made, you know, families based off not only Erin, but Akai and Truth Lady Gaia's characters. It's kind of disturbing in the sake of parody. Which, don't get me wrong, parody is nice, but if you use it in a malicious way, is it really parody? No. No, it isn't. So, to continue, I honestly think a lot of these people should let things go in the past. If these people, you know, Erin, Akai, Truth Lady Gaia can move on, do their thing, and work on themselves, compared to, you know, people who are wallowing in the past and staying locked on hatred for someone who equivalently stubbed their toe on the internet. Do I agree with the things they said? No. They lashed out because the internet decided to full-blown attack them. Why? Because a bunch of people said, "Ooh, they made a Mary Sue." Excuse my shelf. My cat is... nah. But when people full-blown attack and go different ways, they handle these specific types of triggers different ways. Akai couldn't handle criticism that certain way due to, you know, because she hasn't processed such criticisms yet. However, she can grow from that, learn criticism, learn how to understand it, but understand that people don't have to take your criticism. On top of that, Akai also didn't understand how to take these, you know, negative feedback on top of the positive feedback. If people tried to give her gift art to try and cheer her up, she was worried that this was going to be another attack. You see what I'm trying to, you know, it's like say someone hit you. If they go to smack you, the instant response is they flinch. Huh? Truth Lady Gaia full on just shut down. I know she stole art in the past. Do I agree with it? No. People had the right to call her out for it. However, the way to call her out on it is, yes, you call her out on her bullshit and hope she changes. But if she doesn't change, there's no way to change someone who's not willing to change. But luckily, she had started to change. She started to work on her bullshit. But people to this day made full-on documentaries on a girl who was unstable. At this time, this girl was unstable. It was obvious she was unstable when people were starting to realize that she was having quote-unquote hallucinations of Shadow the Hedgehog. She recessed into fantasy, considering reality was too harsh for her to handle. Do you know how in Evangelion people... the whole thing was escapism. Escapism is a, you know, coping mechanism. Word. I can English. And coping mechanisms help people in these times of great stress. Now, Erin's coping mechanisms were totally different. Erin lashed. And I do mean lashed. She was cornered by a whole bunch of people and lashed. Do I fully agree? No, but Erin tried to make up for these lashings. She tried to make up and say, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say this. I didn't know any better. I was younger. Of course, I will say, when you are also a sheltered child, I will also agree some of these things you will think are okay to say. A great example of this is when I was younger, me and Erin come from a similar neck of the woods. When I was younger, people thought it was okay to joke about certain words that obviously aren't okay to say. But I was lucky that my mom told me it's okay not to, hey, it's okay, do not say that though. My mom taught me very good things about the outside world. However, it depends on, from person to person, how you get taught these different life lessons. You know, but God forbid people stub their toe on the internet, and internet history will seem to precede you. But I try my best to educate people, and we'll see what we can do. This has been educating people on the Mary Sue Discourse of the great 2010s. I would also let you guys know that please do not go harassing anybody like I had said in the beginning. I would also like to let you guys know that I would like to show some love to Akai, Truth Lately Gaia, Erin, and I'd also like to show love to Jar, Spoctor, and Harsh Opinions. The reasons I would like to show love to all these creators is because they kind of need it. Give them some love. They had, somehow fallen on my feed and inspired the whole shaboozle. I would also like to show some love mainly to Akai, Truth Lately Gaia, and Erin due to the fact that they did not deserve half the shit they got. People acted like they killed their fucking children. So, do your guys self a favor and realize that internet drama really ain't worth the fucking trouble, alright? Alright. Now I'm gonna go stop my dog from eating the cat food. Bye!